Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Leach, and I am NFCYM's Director of Strategy Information. Today, I'd like to welcome David Stagliano, the Coordinator of Youth and Young Adult Ministry at the Diocese of Albany, and Don Smith, the Coordinator of Sacramental Catechesis and Family Life at the Diocese of Rochester. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks for
The National Catholic Youth Conference is not just a conference with speakers, artists, and workshops. It's something more than that, and possibly even a pilgrimage experience. So I'm glad that David and Don are here to share with us exactly why it can be a pilgrimage and how leaders can cultivate a pilgrimage mentality in their group. So Don and David, welcome again. And can you tell us, why should we look at NCYC as a pilgrimage?
Well, first and foremost, I think that as a church, we're called to be a pilgrim people. So that should be a part of all that we do, including preparing for going to and returning from conferences such as NCYC.
And I think some adults have experienced a pilgrimage, but they don't share that with the young people. And I think by their experience, they need to give them that opportunity and explain to them what the pilgrimage is. I think that's the key starting point, is to know what the difference between going on a trip somewhere to versus a pilgrimage, which is, I think, what both Don and I have tried to explain to our leaders, both at the parishes and within the diocese. So
that's a really good point, in that, as adults, we've experienced pilgrimage, but our young people, especially as of late, not traveling for years during COVID, that for many of them coming to Long Beach, this will be the first pilgrimage experience that many of them have had. So for our leaders who are watching this, what suggestions do you have for how they'd prepare their group to come on NCYC as a pilgrimage?
Oh, I think my first suggestion would be that it needs to be a mindset, not just a list of activities that you're going to do. So by approaching it with a mentality and an attitude of prayer and intentionality, it will be a pilgrimage, where otherwise it's the same as doing your 8th grade civics trip and getting all the boxes checked that go into it: fundraising, scheduling, getting up at 6 a.m., doing, whatever it is. Are you doing it with an intention of bringing us closer to God? Or are you doing it because that's what the next thing on the list is?
and that, like I said, Don says changing the mindset. And that's where, again, and I keep going back, because teaching the adults, or letting the adults remind them that what this is about. Because sometimes being in one of those adults that in the past had done all those, check the box, this is what we need to do. And then once you experience it and you see, oh, it's more than just hit this, do this. The preparation, and I put in the notes, 3 to 4 months ahead, if you start looking at what is the experience like? What's it going to be? Like you're saying, in Long Beach, out in the West Coast, a lot of people in that area have not been to an NCYC or not experienced these large gatherings. So you have to give them, what are the expectations? What are your responsibilities? What are you going to do, along the way? So gathering them ahead of time to prepare them for the pilgrimage, no matter how far it is, whether it's an hour away or coming from upstate New York, across the country. So the distance is not as relevant as much as what the journey is, before and during the whole experience. So
yeah, it sounds like it really begins from when you're promoting your group. Right? Like, don't just come with us on a trip, join us on this pilgrimage, on this spiritual experience. So
put that out there first, let them know this is a pilgrimage, so they can start to say, oh, wow, it's different than just, like Don was saying, a school trip or something different like that.
Well, and I know in our diocese, there was a big question about, when is it pilgrimage? Is it while we're going to NCYC that it's pilgrimage? Or is it more than that? And I always took the attitude that pilgrimage began from the moment you said, yes, I want to do this, and committed to it, all the way through, and changes us after we've come home, so that the pilgrimage can continue in a completely new and different way.
Right. Yes, I agree.
That's awesome. Are there things that we would want to encourage? I'm thinking maybe like sacramental opportunities or like practices while we're there, for the kids to engage with the theme and really enter into this in a way more so than you would like a concert or a different type of a conference.
Well, I think, and I know in some of the things that both Don and I have done and we've shared with our groups, the journaling part, I think starting journals ahead of time, And offering prayer experiences before they go out there so they can be familiar with what's going to happen, like the adoration, some of the reconciliation opportunities. I know when my group goes, we have almost 300 people the last couple of times, and they'll wait in line an hour or something just to get reconciliation, to know that's okay. That's part of the experience too, is waiting in line to receive sacrament. And then a lot of have told me that that experience of just waiting in line, talking with other people in line for reconciliation was part of the experience too. So it's maybe not just receiving the sacraments, but doing a lot of that beforehand, like I said, to know what their expectations might be when they got there. So.
Well, and I agree. I think having the experiences of different types of prayer that maybe they're not used to, because one of the joys of NCYC is that it is so universal that it might not be the type of prayer on Tuesday, it's not on Tuesday, but on the first day that versus the second day might be completely different, and neither of them what they're used to. So experiencing beforehand so that they're ready for it really does enhance their experience of NCYC.
Yes.
I think there's an opportunity too in reflecting on this theme, walking on water, right? That this is a new experience. And, we can be reading through that theme and stuff beforehand before we go. Yeah. So that it's not just a youth minister encouraging you to get out of the boat once you're there. But going. So go ahead.
Sorry. I also think that having the experiences of being prayed for are important for NCYC, because NCYC has the chance to be a pilgrimage for the young people, but an experience for the entire parish. So if you can get the parish praying for the young people that are going, and get the young people going to pray for the people at home, it really encourages a parish mindset and connects them into the church.
That actually plays right into the question that I was going to ask. When you come back, right, and these people have been praying for you and supporting you, how do you bless the parish with the fruits of your pilgrimage experience, or continue that experience in your whole community? Do you have any experience with that or ideas for that?
I'll share. I know we've talked about this before in different activities. Before they even leave, that the parish community recognizes that if it's a small, whether it's a small group, large group. I mean, I've had groups small as 2 or 3, but I've had groups as large as 40 from an individual parish come out, that the parish recognizes them maybe before they leave, so that when they come back, that they can share their experience. I always remind our adults to have their young people share the experience with their parish community, whether they do at Mass, be able to speak from the pulpit. If not, maybe afterwards do a show and tell, have a display of, well, nowadays with pictures, you can do videos, and so show the experience to others. That's sharing your pilgrimage experience, and other people want to know and see what it's like. And having the last few years having the virtual option, I know we've had a lot of people watch virtually to be able to connect, so that when the young people come back and say, oh, we saw you there, we saw this. So I think there's a way to connect the communities. And I know a lot of older people, like in my home parish, they always love seeing the young people do things. So that's important, that they see the young people enthused about their faith. I know a lot of young people come back enthused, but then what do they do after too, to keep them participating? That's the main thing, I think, too, after this experience.
2 of the things that we always did that I thought were really valuable, we always blessed the students or the young people right before they left. The Sunday before, there was a blessing and a sending, thanking them for representing our parish at this national conference. It highlighted the young people to the parish and really set everything in context for them. And then we always had them journaling before, during, and after NCYC with very specific intentionality. What are you expecting to experience? What did you see today? And what stuck with you on your way home or in the day or 2 after? And then we would take highlights from that journal. We had everybody handwrite in one journal that then got passed on 2 years to the next NCYC. So it became this keepsake for the parish. But we would highlight out of it and create a bulletin insert that could go out to the entire parish to see what really affected these young people.
That's really cool. And I think, yeah, even in journaling to say like, what's the one or two fruits you want to take home to mom and dad or to your siblings, etc. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for being here with us. For those of you watching, the 2022 National Catholic Youth Conference is taking place November 10th through 12th in beautiful Long Beach, California. There are two ways to bring a group to NCYC. The first is to join up with a diocesan delegation if your diocesan office is coordinating a trip. The second is to purchase NCYC tickets as a parish and attend on your own. And you can learn more about both of those options at ncyc.us. Thanks.